Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Wind Against Tide. As always, it's me, Dave Standing, and Joey Fernan joining you live in our studio. We had a week off, didn't we, Joey? It was just too hectic last week. On my end, I had my brother finally tied the knot with his beautiful now wife, Vicky, many years in the making, but I actually had two weddings in the week last week. So it was just too hectic to be thinking about fishing and recording a fishing podcast. But that is all right. We are back this week and it's given us another week of exciting stuff to chat about.
Yeah, Dave, good to be here. I'm glad we're live. We're back with all the fishing friends. Since we went last time live, there was a Labor Day long weekend. I know there's a lot of people that have been fishing in the last week, and autumn fishing, both inshore and offshore, has been absolutely red hot. So looking forward to sinking in my teeth to this week's show. We've got a lot of exciting guests lined up, and we've got heaps to look forward to, Dave.
Mate, we announced it last week before it was even a thing. The big tuna had arrived at Portland. We know that because we had Matt Hunt call in and he said a couple of the young blokes down there had actually lost a few big fish. And wouldn't you know it, a few days later, it breaks news on the internet and it's been absolutely red hot down there on the big bluefin tuna. Now in about 10 minutes, we've got Lee Rayner coming on the show. He was down there yesterday with his mate Aaron Hubgood. They caught, I think, 7 big bluefin for the day, which is absolutely incredible, Joey. So it's going to be good to get a live update from there.
Now, just hang on a minute. 7 tuna, potentially over 100 kilos. That is an incredible feat of fishing. When you go traditionally fishing for bluefin tuna in Victoria, catching one barrel-sized tuna in a day is amazing. But not to mention, what 7 did you say, Dave?
Mate, they got 7 in a day. It's been pretty world class down there for those that do follow the big bluefin bite, which I suppose is a lot of our audience. There's been between 8 to 15 large barrel bluefin coming in a day, and nice to see a few released as well, Joey. So it's been absolutely red hot down there, and it's still very early in the year, so we can look forward to many more months of this from now on.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Now, Joey.
Yes?
You are heading down there this weekend. I can't
believe you said that.
Yeah, heading down to Portland, and I cannot wait to see the kind of fishing action you're going to get into down there. You'll be in a boat. You're going to be offshore. You'll be going right through where the fish are. So what's your plan, buddy?
Yeah, so, I was hoping to it's been a few weeks since Dave and I have been able to get out and have a fish in extreme, like we like doing. But this weekend, I'll be stepping on board the P&O. I think the boat's called the Adventurer, and that's going to be going from Melbourne to Adelaide. And much to my displeasure, well, to my pleasure, look, I'm going on this cruise to play bass with my band, but we're going to be trolling from Melbourne to Adelaide at a perfect 10 to 12 knots speed. So the speed's all right, Dave. But we're going to be trolling Melbourne to Adelaide, and I'm sure I'm just going to be waving at all of those barrels splashing around from the back pool deck, wishing I was able to run a spread. Do you think if I maybe ask the captain, Dave, that we can just run a spread when we get past Portland? Do you think he'd be all right with that?
Oh, mate, I think if you ask him nicely enough, he'll let you throw out a few 50 wides off the back. But I don't know how she's going to go maneuverability-wise if you do happen to hook a fish, Joey. So I couldn't think of anything worse. If I can't go to where I want to be fishing for the weekend, I don't want to be there in a different capacity because that's just torturous.
Yeah, maybe 130 with plenty of line might be the way. I can just winch it straight to the boat, but no, going to be literally waving past those barrels at Portland on the P&O Adventurer this weekend. So we'll have to go next time, Dave.
Joey, I'm in the same boat as you, mate. Not literally the same boat. That would be a ship. I cannot get down to where the fishing action is this weekend, but I do have a pretty exciting weekend lined up. I'll be catching up with good friend of the show, Suraj, and another mate, Reese Kennedy.
Oh, that's this weekend, isn't it?
And we've concocted a plan, or Suraj has. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Land-based kingfish off Phillip Island. So I'll be taking the cameras, the drones, and we're going to film it for everyone and hopefully get something up on the channel. Now, I admit odds of hooking a kingfish off the rocks there may be slim, but we're going to give it a bit of a go. But Joey, you know why we're really going.
Yeah, I know exactly why you're going. Thus, Suraj, who's going with the boys, he's unbelievable cook. He's from Nepal. Apparently, some of the best curries that you've ever tasted in your life. So, just to put a bit of perspective, so Dave, you're going away with a website developer and a solar installer. Is that right?
A solar mogul, solar electrical mogul.
But you've all got one common interest, and that's fishing and food.
Well, early days it was definitely fishing. These days, we've got like a little fishing versus food race going on here. First of all, fishing way ahead. These days, food making quite a strong comeback, and I feel this weekend, though we may have good intentions to catch kingfish off the rocks, it could end up in a bit of a food bust up, Joey. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all, and I know you of all people appreciate that.
Oh mate, I love a good meal. I've cut back a little bit on the food. I was pretty happy. Jumped on the scales this week, down 7.2 kilos. So
Mate,
it's going good. I was porking up a bit over Christmas, but you know what? Let's just healthy. Like, you know, I'm feeling good.
yeah, well, I went for one run with you, so I feel like I've been there throughout that whole journey. I haven't bothered weighing myself, but I assume I would have lost somewhere around that amount too. Just watching your progress from my couch while eating chocolate. I think we've really been in this together, I feel.
Thanks, Davey.
Joey.
Yeah.
We better not keep our first guest waiting. It's quite a big one.
So exciting.
A man who has been on the scene for these big tuna as early as a day ago. And he's quite a well-known person. And here he is on the line. Lee Rayner, how you going, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, going pretty well, mate. Just thought we'd give you a quick call because, well, obviously we want to chat to you at any stage, but especially after yesterday. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your day, a little day fishing you had yesterday off Portland?
A little day fishing. Well, Aaron Habgood, who everybody knows, he and I shot down the afternoon before, and I have to say it was like on Aaron. He was like, Lee, it's going to be horrendous in the morning, but it's going to come good. We're both busy. This is our chance to get down. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And we went down. Yeah, it was great. Had an early night. We literally knew it was going to be rough in the morning, so we got everything ready the night before, and then in the morning, even to the point of clipping the lures on the rods in the harbour at Portland. So we didn't have to do it when we got out there, and it was one of those 25-knot southeasters. You cop it the second you come straight out of the harbour.
Yeah.
Got down past the rock. It was rough as bags. It was disgusting. Found a bit of life. But in the morning, it was funny. And look, there's been that really good jumbo bite there the last sort of week, 10 days. But there was those little spot fires, you know, where you go, oh, there's the birds. But then within a minute, it's all gone. And then it was overall, the morning was very, very quiet, and it was very, very rough. And then it sort of backed off, and we just kept trucking west because you got that rough, boys. You couldn't even troll into it. We had to troll back.
Yep.
Basically just across it and down it. That was all you could do.
Yep.
And then at about, it was lunchtime-ish. Yeah, we were heading west, and we saw some birds in the distance, and, you know, guys were already like, I'm over it, and there's no fish, and guys were starting to head elsewhere and go in, and we found this patch and pulled up on it and worked it for a bit, couldn't get a bite, and then I just pitched a bait in on it, and, mate, we were on, and pretty well, if the rest is history, boys, it was just... it was like school tuna going off their head, but jumbos.
Yeah, right. So you're very experienced with Portland fishing and jumbo tuna in general. How would you rate that amongst your days out there on the ocean?
Number one by far. Like, we were both saying we may never see this again.
Yeah, right. So
it was that good.
That's crazy. So total of 7. Did I hear that right? 7
we had
for a day?
seven bites. We landed 6. I have one that, like, I have one fish he just peeled off straight back through the bait ball and the 50 seals and dolphins that were there as well, and it ended up just pinging on one of them.
Yeah, we just saw a little bit of footage from you pitching a bait in and hooking up very quickly, and the action looked absolutely insane. And I know I saw some more videos from later in the day, and you had fish jumping everywhere, kind of a dream day, really.
And especially when that wind backed off, like we're just like the forecast got better than it was supposed to be. In the end, it was pretty well a glass out, and we're just sitting there going, like I said to Aaron, in a perfect world, it'd be great to just hook them on 30-pound tackle, get the bite, get that first run, snap them off, and then go and hook another one, just because that's the exciting bit.
Yeah, for sure. So what technique did you find the best? I saw you caught one on, or at least one trolling, but then you switched it up a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty much pitching in on bait balls, mate. Like, and I took some yakkers down with me that how's this? Some of the yakkers were from Port Macdonald last August. So we took baits with us, and I'm glad we did, because these fish are feeding on pillies. So the balls wouldn't sit on the top, like your yakkers and red bait do, where you can scoop them.
Yep.
They move around fast, and they're going up and down, and there were small patches of bait too, so they didn't last long. And literally we just got up to the edges, and you just get your bait in. I was using a Talica 25 for most of it, a Talica 25 on one of the Tiagra switch bait rods, and I just cast a bait into it. I could cast 20 or 30 metres into the ball, no problem. But we caught fish literally pitching over the side, but casting, and it was like, the good thing was, Dave, that as soon as the yakkers, because they're heavy, they sink fast, and they'd get down under the ball much quicker, whereas a pilly took a lot longer to try and get through them, and then the seals would grab it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that. That's a nice tip for everyone listening.
Yeah, so that definitely helped. I was running 130-pound Mamoy fluorocarbon.
Yep.
Neo, and straight to a circle hook, and just the wind on. It's a full 130-pound wind on, so just straight onto the reel, and then I can cast the whole lot. And it worked beautifully. But to give you an idea, I suppose, how hot the fishing was, I think we didn't get our first fish on till 1 o'clock. Right, we landed our last fish, which was fish number 6. We landed that at I think it was 6:45, and in that I had one big fish on for 2 hours on 12 kilos of drag. He took 2 hours. So we lost 2 hours of fishing, and the whole time we're just going, hurry up, because there was just the whole time there was workups around us. But like, it was just crazy.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you were arguing about who had to wind the fish in at one stage, because let's be honest, the hookup, and potentially when you get them to the boat's probably the best bit, but there's a whole lot of pain in between those two moments.
Oh, exactly. But then, we both just had to, and we kept saying, like, we can't take this for granted, and that's why we stayed out as late as we did too, because we're just like, we might not see this fishing again. We might see it 10 times in our life, but we may not. And the weather came good, and there was no reason for us to rush back in. We were just making the most of the moment, even to the point we ran out of bait, and these two young boys came down in this little tinny. Like, it was a big haul for them to come down there. They were local dudes.
Yep.
And they came down, they're trolling over these patches, and they weren't getting a bite. We're like, come here, and they've come over. And we were hooked up, and we're like, you got some bait? And they're like, yeah. And we're like, pitch a bait in, you'll hook up straight away. And, oh, no, that's right. We just landed a fish. And we're going, you got some bait? And they go, yeah, we got some pillies. And we go, pitch a bait in, you'll hook up straight away. And Aaron goes, can we grab a couple of pillies off you? So they literally passed us like 3 or 4 pillies, because they had a kilo bag of them.
Yep.
We've gone up to a ball, pitched in on it, hooked up. They've gone up to a ball, pitched in it, hooked up.
That's insane.
It was just out of control,
Yeah, and I think that's a really good perspective on it, because it's easy when you're out there to go, oh, we've caught 3 or 4, let's go in and go to the pub. But like you say, that potentially you might never see that action again. It's, as you know pretty well, from day to day, it completely differs. So you could have gone out the next day and saw none of that action, 100 boats there. And so the fact that you made the most of that day while you're out there, I think that's another good tip for people. You spend all the time and money to get down there, you may as well enjoy it to its full extent. So
make the most of those amazing days. Make the most of them. And the other one too, like, guys, I've had a lot of people calling and messaging and stuff, as has Aaron. Everyone's like, how did you guys catch 6? It's a pretty simple formula. If you don't kill them, it's a lot easier. We kept one fish, and that was the first one. And Aaron said, I want to keep one to take home. The first one we got was about 75, so he was the perfect size fish, right? When you're not killing them, you're not dragging that fish in the boat, dealing with this fish, dealing with all the mess, taking extra photos and all that, which you should do if you're going to keep one. But by not doing that, we get a fish to the side of the boat, get the hook out, and we're back fishing literally 30 seconds later.
Yep. Yeah,
And
there's something in that for sure. Yeah.
100%, mate. There was at least 3 fish where we've got rid of one fish, and within 1 to 2 minutes, we were hooked up again.
Yep.
Which you wouldn't have done if you had a 100-kilo fish kicking around on the deck of the boat.
No, and I think that's another point. Like if you're keeping a fish and looking after it properly, it takes you out of the game, like fishing wise, for probably a good 20 to 30 minutes while you're processing it. Then in that time, you've drifted off the middle of nowhere or whatever. You got to find the life again. And like you said, the way you've done it, releasing, and it's a bit similar when you're fishing marlin on bait balls. You catch a fish, release it, and you're straight back on them again.
That's exactly right. And it's exactly what it is. If you just think marlin fishing and you want to try and catch a few, it's the way to do it. But like, and if there's a few boys on the boat, man, I don't care what anyone says. 100-kilo tuna is enough fish for 4, well and truly. I don't care what anyone says. Well looked after, it is heaps. So, the potential to catch multiple fish is there. Like we were saying yesterday, that if you had 2 guys pitching baits on some of these workups we had, you would have doubled up every time.
Yeah.
In fact, we did it once. We both pitched in and we both hooked up, and that was where one got cut off by another seal or dolphin, and we ended up getting the other one on the. Oh, actually, that was the big one because Aaron pitched in on my bent butt 24, and he's hooked up and he's just left the rod in the hole to screaming. He's like, "That's your problem now," and I'm like, and that was the one for 2 hours on, but that was a double hookup, easy as.
Hey Lee, it's Joey here, mate. Congratulations on your awesome fishing day.
Thank you.
I noticed that you're using talikas there, and for people that are not familiar with talikas, they're quite a lightweight overhead reel. Do you think that using those particular type of setups might have attributed to getting some of those fish in a little bit quicker than, say, your traditional, your Tiagra setup?
No doubt at all, Joey. No doubt. Like that one I've got there is a bit of a retrofitted one. So I've got a Talica 25, and they come with that knobby handle on them, which is great when you're fishing, I suppose, normal drag. But I want mine for heavier drag. So I've taken the normal handle off. I've got a Talica 50 handle put on. So you've got that big cranking handle, right? Then you've got to get a few other parts to do it. And I've actually got a thing on YouTube if people want to do that. There's the parts that you got to order and how to do it. It's really simple. And then I've got 500 meters of 50-pound braid, and I've got a 200-meter mono top shot. And then I've just put it on one of those, the Tiagra Hyper switch bait rods, and the 30 to 50. And I could cast a bait 30 meters, no problem at all with that. So that helped. So that took out the need for having a spin reel, because I just don't like spin reels for this sort of stuff.
Ugh, pain.
Yeah. What sort of kilos of drag do you think you were running? Were you just
drag on that video? That strike drag is set at 10 kilos.
Yep.
So I'm pushing 10 kilos, and then once I settle into it, I'm straight up to 12, and that's over a reel that looks like a toy, and it does it. It does it so easy. As you boys know, the cranking power that you get through a Talica is unbelievable, that you've got such a high-speed reel, so you get the line back, but they've got this amazing cranking power through the drive system that they use. So it was an absolute pleasure to use that outfit, and I have no doubt that being able to cast a couple of times, just that 20 meters to get your bait right in the ball, that definitely helped to get a bite.
I'm just watching you now. It just looks like you're absolutely enjoying every moment of that Talica hooked up. It looks so nice to fish with, seriously.
Yeah, so good. And you know what? By doing what we were doing, I reckon you're keeping your fight time obviously a lot shorter. Not one of those fish got me into the backing. Not one of those fish got 200 meters of mono out on me in that Talica, because we just keep up with them, because you're not trying to clear a spread of 5 lures and all that. So you were just up on the fish. What I like to do when they start hauling off is stop the boat, let him pull line, let him pull 10 kilos of drag for as long as he wants to do it. When he stops, then we'll work up on him.
Yeah. No, it's a great technique. Hey, Lee, I wanted to know, what do you find more enjoyable? We saw you buzzing around in your tinny on the school bluefin the other day off Kilcunda, and you had a pretty big smile on your face there. And I know that we were having a bit of a ball. Casting at these small fish that have become pretty prolific in our waterways. It's a tough one because you get the prestige of the big barrels, but it's pretty good seeing those little fish come flying out of the water eating a topwater lure, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable, and it's an unbelievable thing that we can now confidently go out there and do this every summer, like every summer. And if you want to troll, you can troll, and if you want to cast at them, you can cast at them. And some days it's better doing one than the other. Other days they just eat everything. Other days they just don't eat. But I think I love the fact of being able to go out in my little boat and do it. It's just good, easy fun. My kids have been out doing it. My girlfriend's been out with me doing it. She caught her first tuna ever, and it was one on a popper. And it's just a lot of fun, boys. And I love doing it in the little boat. Like even yesterday afternoon, I just kept saying to Aaron, I'm going, dude, if we had this sort of weather in the morning, we could have just brought my little boat. And he's just going, shut up. I want to catch a jumbo out of that little boat, boys. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, well, you'll definitely be able to do that. We've had a little bit of experience with that. It's a bit different to the bigger boats. They actually tend to just drag you around the ocean instead of the other way around. But
I'd hear that.
But I know you're a good fisher and you'll be able to adapt to that.
I'll make it up as I go. That's what I'll do.
Do you think with the life that you'd seen at Portland, Lee, that there might have been an opportunity for a topwater barrel?
Oh, 100%. 100%. The way they were blowing up late in the evening, I had a couple of poppers. I had a big popper in just my lure box, and Aaron goes, "You should cast that popper." I'm like, I should, but I'm not going to. But I have 100%, mate. You would have lobbed that popper in, or it was big stick bait, and you would have got creamed in no time.
Yeah. Well, I was actually speaking to a mate just before, and one of his friends went 4 hours on one on a stick bait, only for the hook to tear out when he had it next to the boat, and it was just hooked in the cheek with those trebles.
Yeah, okay. I think if I was going to do it, boys, I reckon I'd cast my popper on. I'd probably use a decent sized popper or a stick bait, and I reckon I'd just use that Talica outfit.
Yeah,
it's not. It's more about being able to fight that fish when you get it on, and I really don't want to fight that fish on a big stick baiting rod.
Well, that's actually pretty clever. They do that a little bit in the on the west side of like California, I think it is, in America. They cast those I think they call them irons, which is like a bit of a metal slug type thing, and they are using very similar setups to that.
Yeah, and that's all I'd use. I can throw. I was looking at one of the new big Shimano flash boost poppers. I've got a couple of them, and that's what I have with me. I'm like, I'll be able to throw that a mile with that Talica, no problem at all. So I just want it to be more comfortable when I'm fighting the fish. That's all. But yeah, you would certainly catch them on top water. Do you know what's interesting too, boys?
Yep.
This is a class of fish which we haven't been catching. We know they're there. The divers see them all the time. The average fish we got yesterday, I reckon, was about 80 kilos.
Yep.
They're those, and there was Aaron got one. I reckon he was 40, 45. We had one that I called, the one we kept, we called him about 75. And then I reckon the rest, bar the big one, which is about 120, they were in that 70 to 90 kilo size. So if you said about 80 kilos, like they're those mid-range fish, which we just don't seem to get that often, or they're very rare.
Oh, so you didn't get any barrels. That's bad luck.
I got 120. 120. That was enough. I was actually hoping for a whole bunch of 40 kilo fish. Let me tell you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But it was really nice to see that class of fish, and a lot of the fish you saw blowing up, they were those, you would say, 70 to 90 kilo fish.
Yep.
So yeah, really, really good fishing. Really good fishing. And look, there's going to be a lot of people down there this weekend, and there'll be fish caught. I hope everyone has a great time, and I hope everyone catches one.
Yeah, I don't pretend to know what's going on with this fishery, where they're coming from, why they behave they do, but there is a bit of a pattern that those early season barrels, they do seem to be that mixed size with some smaller fish up to the proper giants. And then when we get that run in, say, September or August, September sort of thing, they do seem to be mostly, well over 100 kilo, which is...
Well over 100, yep. But then all those fish down at Port Mac, there's big, like last year, they were all big fish. There was a lot, they were 100 plus. So this is a different run of fish. This isn't the run of fish, if you know what I mean. I think we've just got multiple patches of fish. You've got to remember those 80 kilo fish now, they're the fish that we were catching 10, 15 years ago that were the schoolies.
Yep, 100%.
So each year now, like I said to Aaron yesterday, I go, mate, in 10 years' time, there is going to be that many jumbos in these waters. They are going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, it's getting that way a little. Well, no, I would never say it's a pain in the ass, but if you recall the early days, early to mid 2000s,
Yep.
it was, if there was a day where there was, say, 10 or more barrels caught in a day out of Victorian port, it was newsworthy.
Oh, it was huge. It
Yep.
was huge. I remember I just wanted to catch one. It took me 5 years to catch my first jumbo. Like I caught one, and I just couldn't believe it. And now you look at it, and guys will go, "Oh, there's a good tuna bite at Portland." You're going to go, nah. Oh, no, I'll just nah. Well, like guys are now going, "No, I'll just wait till they're out the front here."
Well, I was trying to do that, Lee. I was trying to do that. I was saying, "Oh, they're going to come past here. It'll be so much." And then you went and did that yesterday.
Yeah, sorry.
So, in fact, you're probably responsible for a lot of the boat traffic that will be there this weekend.
I possibly have a little bit to do with that. So, but I'll just be fishing local this weekend with my kids for school tuna.
Yeah, very smart. The old drive-by. Absolutely inundate the town and then take off into the distance and go to a different spot.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, hopefully I won't see another big one up here this weekend with the kids.
Oh, mate, you never know. They're probably not very far off at all. So
yeah, and that's exactly right. And that's the great thing about our fishery now. You just don't know. Like even now, you are, to an extent, you're playing with fire, trolling around with lures out on light tackle or lighter tackle, because the next fish could be a big one.
That's right. Yeah, dangerous times. Hey, Lee, just quickly, but since we talked to you last, you've got a new role happening. I think you're working in with Anaconda. What's your role there?
So I'm apparently their fishing guy.
Yep.
They're seriously struggling for fishing guys then. We're doing all this stuff, and it's all up on the Anaconda YouTube page, and it's fishing, but it's how to, and it's non-brand funded. So if they stock it, I can use it. And let me tell you guys, it is the best thing to be able to go out and troll a Laser Pro at an X-Wrap or a Nomad diver. You use what you need to use, what you know you need to have out to catch the fish. But there's everything from, say, in-store, how to choose the gear, multiple brands, the sorts of rods and reels you might need to do for, say, kingfish. Then how to use that gear, and then catching the fish. So people are getting the proper process, and it's split more so into shorter videos rather than being one 20-minute video. There might be 3 sections to it that's 5 to 7 minute videos. So it breaks it up into separate sections for you, and you get all the info you need so you can get out there and do it yourself. And that's what I've always wanted to do, is just get people out there catching fish and doing that stuff.
You sound like the perfect man for the role. I'm a little bit envious, but I definitely wish you all the best for it. Hey, can we touch on quickly? You've had a bloody awesome run on the local kingfish as well. I nearly forgot about that. You've been a man on fire lately.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've got my fishing mojo back a bit, boys. Yep. I really do. Like the last 12 months, I just feel like I've got it back. I'm confident again. For a few years, I lost all my confidence. I was just too busy trying to chase reports and worry about what everyone was doing. And I'm confident in what I do. But that local kingy fishing, that was something special. To be catching fish up inside Western Port. Big fish too. Like I had 2 fish at 120, a metre 20, but in 17 kings in 6 trips, I kept 4, released the rest, and I had 1 fish that was under a metre. It's something wild. And a lot of people again were like, oh, what's with kings getting up in the port? And you go, well, look at Port Augusta. Like Port Augusta you're fishing Port Augusta, it's basically like fishing up Warneet.
Yeah, right.
So Port Augusta is 150 kilometres inland from the ocean.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Yeah. So to give you an idea, Port Augusta is north of Sydney.
Really?
Wow.
It's actually north of Sydney. If you look at it on a map, it's north of Sydney. That's how far up it goes.
I'd never really thought about it. I'd seen some clips from there and just figured it was by the ocean.
No, Port Augusta is so far up inland, and it's basically like the top of Western Port. It's warm water, it's shallow, lots of food there. The kings go up there to warm up and spawn and do all that. And I assume ours are doing the same, because I don't know, you guys got a few kings. Did you find they had eggs in them?
Well, actually, me and Joey didn't really catch any, but from all reports there was a spawning aggregation going up there, potentially triggered by the hot water.
Yep, exactly. And that's why it was so crucial when I think I whacked one or two, and they taste great, don't get me wrong, but I whacked a couple. Like these things have got eggs. And then I was very conscious of going, these things have got eggs, they're here for a reason. I don't need to be killing them all.
Yeah, the water was 23 degrees.
Yep, exactly. So, and look, it's a fishery that will continue so long as we all look after it. But it's well worth it. It was interesting though, boys, that during that fishing, for a couple of trips there, the hardest part was catching some bait. Yeah. That was the hardest part of the scenario. I was going out and giving myself 2 hours before the peak period to catch bait. And sometimes I'd have 2 yakkers or 2 squid or maybe 3, and they'd both get eaten in no time, which was cool because you go, I had 2 baits, caught 2 kings, and then I went home. Then there was this week, all the bait turned up and the fish disappeared.
Interesting.
Yeah. So great fishery though, guys. Great fishery. I mean, what can be better than catching a 1.20 metre king in 6 metre water?
No, and it seems to be getting better every year. But yeah, me and Joey are doing that thing that you were doing where we mistime everything, and we were supposed to go on one of those days when it went absolutely off its head, and then my little boy was actually sick, so I had to pick him up from daycare. And I was like, damn you, small child.
Yeah. But you know what, boys? We all go through that, and that's the reality of it. With young kids, it's what we do. But I'm stoked because, mate, I'm at that point now. We've got a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old daughter, and they're both loving their fishing. And like those kingies, to take them both out and catch them both a big kingfish was something pretty special as a dad to be able to do. Like, I couldn't care about me whining him in, but to seeing your kids doing it and your friends doing it is something wild.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Hey, one of our spies saw you in East Gippsland last week.
Oh, my God.
We got eyes and ears everywhere. What were you doing there?
I was up there filming stuff for Anaconda, actually.
Yeah.
And I did Lakes, and Lakes was actually a bit tougher because the joint is filled with tailor. And so all the good points and areas I found where you would normally have the tailor, the flathead, they were just crawling with these kilo-sized tailor. And I have had it before when you cop that, the flatties don't seem to like it, having the tailor obviously zipping around everywhere around them. But, mate, I ended up doing some stuff showing people how to troll for tailor in an estuary. Cool. Running a deep diver and a shallow diver and how to do it all like that. And then we went to the BEM and we were catching brim and flathead and stuff on bent minnows and little cranking, like little brim hard body, showing the technique, what to look for, how to fish it, when the wind got up, the way to fish in the wind, and that real cool how to sort of stuff so that anyone can do it. And the best thing about what I'm doing, boys, I don't say where I am because it's not about that. It's about the technique. So the people that know where I am will know by the scenery, but it's not about that. What I was showing was how to fish a bent minnow. And it doesn't matter if you were down here in Gippsland or up in northern New South Wales. That's how to fish a bent minnow.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what I was doing down there, mate. I was down there filming that stuff, and I'm busted to go back because the fishing was actually pretty good. It was really good. So
awesome,
in the BEM, it was great. So
yeah, beautiful. Well, Lee, thanks so much for coming on. We've held you up longer than I was supposed to, but
you're right.
It was very easy listening, and I'm sure that a lot of people picked up a few tips there for the upcoming season. Oh, I know so, mate. And they can look out for some of that footage coming out via Anaconda, can they?
Oh, the stuff, all that brim stuff and all that, and the kingfish stuff. I did a kingfish thing in Western Port. I wasn't going to film it, but then the word got out and everyone was talking about it, and I'm like, it's not a secret.
No.
So I ended up filming it, but again, I don't even say I'm in Western Port. I say I'm fishing, a big shallow estuary system.
I'm fishing next to a big red ship in a shipping zone, but it could be
anywhere. Well, here, I'm going to give everyone a bit of an inside info. Yep. The majority of the kingies I caught this season in Western Port were nowhere near that ship. Yep. Nowhere near that ship. Like, I'm talking 1-2 kilometres from that ship. So don't think that it's just that one spot. Like, I just went looking, and the more places I looked, the more places I found kings.
Yep. Another good tip. You writing these down, Joe?
Oh, yeah. I've run out of space on my notepad.
Tell you what, boys. I'll tell you what, fellas. If I'm lucky enough to find them next season, I will be sure to let you know.
Yeah, I was wondering when we'd get the inside word. No, no, it's awesome, mate. Keep on doing what you're doing, and we really appreciate it. And thanks for coming on again. We can't wait to have you back down the track.
Thanks, fellas. Anytime.
Thanks, Lee. Have a good evening.
See you, boys.
Well, Joey,
How's about that, hey?
mate, I didn't think we'd get that much info out of the great man.
Yeah, no, he's been doing it. He's been going hard, and the results speak for themselves.
Has that amped you up for a bit of fishing action?
Oh yeah, I'm hanging. Like we said before, Dave. After this weekend, we're clear.
Yes. Hey, I am fishing this weekend. Don't forget.
Oh, sorry.
Is it-
Yeah, you are.
There's a bit of food eating, but there'll be some token casts off the rocks, Joey, and I'll film it. It'll be an adventure either way.
Now we've still got some hoodies and shirts, I believe, available for the podcast. Tell us a bit about that.
We do. My lovely wife did a little stock take today. We've been moving some of the merch around, so we kind of lost track of what we had there for a bit. So I know a couple of people have asked, so I'll be getting back to you very shortly about what we've got left in what sizing. So if you want to get yourself a good deal on one of our awesome hoodies or shirts that we've got left in stock, just shoot us a message on Instagram or Facebook and we'll sort it out. And then a little bit down the track, Joey, we plan to do another run of hoodies coming into winter, and we'll get them up on a more official website. We'll go with some like a Shopify store type setup that our good friend Suraj will probably set up for us. Thanks, Suraj. And that'll make it easier for everyone to support the show.
I even didn't get one myself, but I absolutely, at the boat show we had those King Kong, Donkey Kong hoodies with the kingfish and the gorilla holding the kingfish. I missed out on one of them. So,
mate, it's actually crazy. Hey, you know what? I actually did find one of them. We did find one of them when we were going through these hoodies. There's one small one left.
Oh, great. So I got to lose another 10 kilos.
So if you can either shrink a bit more, or one of our smaller listeners, hey, Kim, how are you? Can probably purchase one of those off us. And Wild Chicken, mate, you're too bloody generous, chucking a bit of money across on the live feed there. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we sure do.
So, Joe, we were sort of speaking about what our plans next. So you're thinking big tuna in your near future?
Oh, big tuna, look, it's been great, but I've been really battling to try and get back up the Marlin coast. The Marlin bite up Bermagui been absolutely insane, and our next guest is going to touch a little bit on that when we get to her. But yeah, the Marlin bite on the South New South Wales coast last week, seeing boats doing 6, 7, 5 in one day, it's just been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I would really love to get up on those marlin. I think those big tuna are a permanent feature of our fishing calendar. But yeah, those marlin, they're only here for sort of, from 1 to 3 months sort of thing, depending how good the season is. So yeah, I'd be definitely wanting to do that.
Yeah, it's been they've probably been at their peak in the last couple of weeks. Good friend of the show, Richie O'Bella's been hooking probably between 5 and 10 marlin a day. Probably more than that, actually. Probably done him a disservice. But we're certainly spoilt this time of year. We've got those marlin up the coast. Down in Tassie, there's been a few swordfish caught already. We're going to discuss that in our regular report section. And local bluefin tuna still firing, and plenty of other stuff happening. We will talk about that a little bit later. Joey, are we calling up your special guest?
Yeah, let's go. We're gonna go to this girl. She's I should say woman. She's had an amazing fishing trip, and we're gonna call her right now.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Mel. I thought you were actually going to go to Joey first, but it's lovely to.
Oh, hey. Well, it's your phone. Hello, Joey. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Mel.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, Mel. Now, you've been up the coast last week with your wonderful husband, Steve, and you've just had the fishing trip of a lifetime in the ocean and in the estuaries. And I want to hear all about it. So just walk us through what you and Steve got up to last week.
Okay, so it was a trip we'd planned up to Lakes Entrance. We'd gone there last year and had a ball. We went out up to Lakes Entrance and fished out of Lake Tyers. And we did our fishing trip in our a trusty old 16R. And Steve was convinced to get us a Renegade to go up on to the next trip. So after the trip, he'd bought the Renegade, fitted it out, and then it was sort of to go off and enjoy the holiday and take the boat out for the first time and see if we can catch a massive floodie, as everyone wants to do out at Lake Tyers. So the first day was sort of going out and, you know, getting a feel of the boat, and we caught a few bream. And I think on the first or second day, Steve caught a floodie around 55 centimetre, and, you know, everyone wants to try and catch something bigger. So we went out and tried again. And in the meantime, my father-in-law gave us a call and said the marlin were on in Bermagui. So being 4 hours away from going up coast, we decided to give it a go. So
why not?
yeah, so it was to try and get me on my first marlin, which was a success. So we went out on Harry's formula. So Triple H is what everyone knows the boat by.
Yeah, it's a little bit famous, that boat, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a beautiful boat. So we're pretty lucky to have it in the family. So had a good crew on board to help us, and we sounded up a few fish within the first sort of half an hour that we were trawling. We were trawling on skip baits. Yep. So there was a marlin that sort of marked one of the skip baits and had taken the bait. We were just about to fix up and re-rig that rod until the other one went off. And then mayhem started. So they were trying to get the gimbal on me, and there was a little bit of teething problems there because I'm small.
Those black magic equalisers are for big jumbo people normally.
So they set me up on an esky, and about an hour and a half of fighting, and Steve on the wheel, and, you know, everyone's sort of helping, team effort. We got the fish to the boat, and it was a happy ending for me because it was a first. So it was a really fantastic experience.
So did you get the harness on in the end, or were they able to tighten it up so you could make things easier? Or
look, I had to sort of sit on the esky for majority of the fight, and then I stood up towards the end to sort of maneuver the fish to the side of the boat so that we could you know, get a photo and then release it. So it was a bit of a difficult maneuver trying to sort of stay in one place and move the rod with the fish, but yep. Yeah, Steve was really good at maneuvering the boat and getting it to sort of help me as well. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting and exciting experience. So yeah, it was awesome. well worth the day trip.
Congratulations on your first marlin, by the way. Even I haven't got one myself, but yeah, no, I'm just so happy for you. I know you fish really, really hard. I know where it all started. I know it started from your kayak catching little squid in St. Leonard's, and you've been fishing for a long time. So no, I'm just really, really happy for you.
You're turning a little bit green with envy over there, Joey. I could sense that as Mel discussed her first marlin capture. You going to be all right?
Yeah, I'll be all right.
Well, anyway, after the podcast, maybe you can have another call with Mel. She can give you some tips, and you'll be able to get one yourself.
That's definitely on an esky. That's the one I've just nodded. Jotted down.
Yeah, try that.
Hey, Mel, we don't want to keep you too long, but Joey was very keen to have you on the show, rightfully so. You've done a lot of cool stuff in fishing yourself. So I just wanted to give the listeners a little bit of an idea. So how did you start your fishing journey? Was it with a parent or a friend, or you just decided you want to have a crack at it yourself?
So my dad, growing up, was into fishing. He used to have a fishing tackle shop himself. So I grew up always wanting to be at the fishing tackle shop. I used to watch him tie flies, make Kona heads, so molds, so skirting molds for marlin and all that, and rods.
And where was that shop, Mel? It was not just tackle. It used to be 16 shops in Altona North.
Oh.
And I always wanted to be there. So I think my love for fishing started from just being at the tackle shop. He had a kingfisher pursuit. We used to go out in the bay fishing, but as I was quite small, so it wasn't very often. And I always wanted to go to Bermagui, but I was apparently too small and it was too scary to take me. So I think I just always wanted to go fishing no matter which way, how I could. So as you mentioned, I got a kayak. I actually had a boat for a while, but it sat in the garage. I didn't have anyone to go with, so the kayak it was.
Yep.
And then, fishing out of St. Leonard's, catching squid, until I met my wonderful husband, Steve, who has completely changed my life with fishing because he's done everything possible to take me anywhere and everywhere and give me that dream of getting involved and giving everything a crack, which has been fantastic. And having a partner like that and a best friend is the best thing you can ever have.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that.
A beautiful love story, and kind of good that you progressed through the species and got to realize your marlin dream, which is many people dream of that throughout their whole lives. With your husband, that's a special moment.
Yeah, it was something I've always wanted to do, and it's one off the bucket list. So that's good.
Well, you got a second bucket list. You got a second, but before we went on the air tonight, Mel made a confession to me that she got a second bucket list fish, and she had quite a funny story to tell about the second bucket list fish. Can you just quickly touch on that, what you're saying before we went on air?
Yes, Joey. So probably about 10, 11 years ago, I was going up to Eden to catch kingies, and I had seen a post on a big flatty and really wanted to go fish out at Lake Wombine, and I got teased by my friends of why on earth would I want to catch a flathead 8 hours away from home when I can catch one in the bay. So as anyone does when they get into sort of estuary fishing, you get that sort of itch of wanting to try and catch a nice big breeder or a big flatty. So we went out, and I'd actually gone and bought myself some Xeric shrimp, sort of soft plastic lures that I was keen to try out. And I did say to Steve, I want to catch a flatty on this trip, at least 60 centimetres, and I want to catch it on my soft plastic prawn. And I cast it out, and I just managed to get it in the right spot, and I hooked onto a 60 centimetre flatty. So I was pretty rapt about that.
How good's that?
That's bloody
getting
awesome.
there. Not a metre, it's still a little bit to go, but getting there.
I never thought I'd say this, being a bit of a game fisherman throughout most of my life, but the flathead thing it's so exciting, casting in the shallow water with lures, and you just never know when a big one's going to absolutely smash your bait and fish of a lifetime. They're bloody impressive fish when they get big, aren't they?
Oh yeah, like I said, looking at that fish and looking at the brag mat and seeing how much bigger they can get is actually crazy.
Yeah.
And I noticed, Mel, you've got at the front of the Renegade there, you've got the depth sounder on a mount up the front there. Were you using that as a tool to try and find where to cast?
No, not on that particular day. So when we were fishing for bream, we just sort of gave it a go and tried to sound up a bit of fish, and then we're using some vibes and some soft plastic grubs and things out in, and I guess trying to see if we could get one. And Steve actually managed to catch a fish while live scoping, so that was pretty cool. But when we were catching the flatties, I was just casting out into the flats and just managed to cast in the right spot.
Oh, how exciting.
I honestly didn't have much luck that trip. I before I caught that flatty and the bream, towards the end, I only caught one bream, and Steve had caught the rest of the fish. So I wasn't doing too well up until that point. But then I managed to get the bigger fish, so that's always a bonus.
That's right. You came home with a wet sail, as they say. So that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
What do you say, Dave? Some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail.
That's right. And it sounds like Mel worked it out pretty well. She ended up with the marlin. So you can't go too
I
wrong
wasn't expecting that. So that was also a ripper. So that was good. Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely happy with that.
What's on the checklist in the next few months, Mel? What are you guys going to be fishing for? Or are you going to be helping Steve wire up a few customers' boats?
No. He's already talking about Lake Parrambeet and getting onto some Chinook salmon and I don't know, whatever. It doesn't. Whatever we can do in whatever time we've got, we'll we'll give it a crack.
Well, if you get those salmon, me and Joey have been clean eating before the podcast lately, and he just fried me up a beautiful bit of Atlantic salmon. But I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say I went and bought it from Woolworths just before the show.
I've been saying for ages I want to catch a Chinook salmon. So yeah, you got me fired up again, Mel.
Yeah, so I don't know if it will happen yet, but it's definitely on the cards. So yeah, it's definitely something he wants to do. And I keep saying I want to head down to Wilson's Prom, just do a little bit of fishing, whether it's kingies or just whatever we can go out there. It'd be nice, but I don't know when we'll be doing that. But I definitely want to head out that way as well.
Well, we had Will from Always Angling on the show, and he was giving us the East Gippsland wrap. So yeah. We'll have to get him back on again and let you know what's going on down East Gippsland, Mel.
Sounds good.
All right, Mel. Well, thanks for giving us so much of your time tonight, and we really appreciate you coming on. Sounds like you and Steve have forged a great relationship there with some awesome fishing to come, and we can't wait to hear a bit more about it. So hopefully we can get you back on the show in a few months when you've caught those beautiful big Chinook salmon that Joey's going to be so jealous about.
No worries, not a problem.
Good on you, Mel. Take care.
No worries. Take care, guys. Thank you.
See ya. Thanks very much. Bye.
Yeah, what an amazing fishing woman. She's I'm really happy for her. I've been following Mel's fishing for quite some time, and she's absolutely hard as nails, and I'm just happy for her.
Hey, Joe, I bloody love seeing the rise of women in recreational fishing. It's seriously so good to see, and I can't wait to see a bit more of it in the future. I know, like, it's like my wife, as an example, she bloody loves it when she gets out on the water, and that she's probably only experienced that because I introduced it into her life. But for a lot of women, they don't have that opportunity. So it's just so good that they have these. It's more accessible for them with programs like WRF. We've had Shell on talking about that quite a few times, and look forward to seeing more of it in the future.
Yeah, it's nice, and like it's not just about getting away and escaping, but you hear the way Mel talks. It's she knows the lures, the rods. It's it actually she's been properly introduced to the sport of fishing, not just the whole the basic aspects of it. So no, it's just really it's nice to hear that.
Yeah, Joey.
Yes.
In our return to podcasting, the podcasting universe, we did miss out on a couple of our regular segments, but we're bringing them back tonight. And I'd like to start off with everyone's favorite, the hookup.
Okay, here we go.
Come on, Joey.
Hey!
Welcome to the Hookup, where we check out all the fishing action from around Australia and indeed the world.
Indeed, the world, Davey.
What do you think about that, Joe? Is that all right? We just made that about 10 minutes ago, by the way. I thought it was quite smooth, other than Joe's millhouse eyes not being able to see the right button to press for a second there.
Yeah, just had to check where the patch was, but that's all good, Dave. Dave, we're hooking up. What are you hooking us up with?
I'm hooking us up with a shameless plug, not a plug, a short mention that this segment here is available for sponsorship.
Oh.
You could have your name or business name involved in the opening of this segment. I know we've discussed our hatred for sponsorship in the past, but we've changed.
Yep. No, that's fine. We're absolutely happy to get behind anybody.
No. It's quite expensive running a podcast. People might not be aware of that. So we just thought we might throw it out there, make it known that any input from some of our great friends in the business world would be much appreciated. If you want to shoot us a message and discuss, we'd be more than willing to work something out. Not going to fill the podcast with ads, obviously, but all the support is much appreciated. And if it can help us keep producing this podcast week after week, then I think that's a good thing, Joey.
Yeah, love it.
On to the reports. The free, ad-free reports. You know what's made a bit of a return this week in the limelight, Joey?
Oh, I've got a feeling I know what you're going to say, but say it.
I don't know if you do.
Okay.
The water has cooled off in our bays, Joe.
Yes.
Our favourite is returning. A fish that's featured heavily in the hookup over the last year or so.
Oh, yeah.
The beautiful red snapper, Joey.
Oh, I love it. My uncle Tony will be frothing at the bit, trying to reclaim his title as the Safety Beach Snapper King.
Well, I've heard he's been smacking a few big snapper down there at the western entrance of Western Port.
I actually so badly want to call him maybe another time about his fishing updates because it's quite exciting.
Yeah, well, you were saying that he went down for a bit of a small pinky snapper sesh down there and got inundated by yakkers, which is a problem most of us would like to have because we'd like to use those yakkers for live bait.
Yeah, here's a hookup for you. There's plenty of yakkers at Buoy 1 in Western Port. If you want yakkers, just tie some burley to your anchor rope and just pop the anchor down somewhere near Buoy 1. Hopefully you've got the tide breezing past the burley bag towards the Buoy 1 and you'll catch plenty of yakkers. But I'm joking, but Tony loves to go and catch the pinky snapper at Buoy 1. Usually as that water cools off, as Dave mentioned, you can have quite a good session on those pinkies. These are days 10, 20, up to 30 pinkies. But yeah, not happening at Buoy 1 just yet, Davey.
Right, well, we'll let everyone know when that is on with every development in that fishery. But I did see some big snapper coming in on some of the charter boats, and also our good mate Brett from Reedy's Rigs. He's prolific on the snapper, Joey, and he's been back out there. I think even today he had a great session on big autumn snapper in Port Phillip. It's a good fishery, isn't it?
Yeah, love it. I was lucky enough to get a taste of it around Christmas time, which traditionally is not a hot snapper biting type of time, but as you get towards sort of Anzac Day and that water does cool, when it gets to the summertime, it goes up to around 20 degrees. As we know, the snapper spawning temperature in the springtime sits at about 18 degrees, and that really excites them. But once the water's heated up to 20 degrees, it'll start to cool off in those autumn and coming into winter, and the water will get back to 18 degrees. And I don't know what the science is, but it seems to trigger them again for another hurrah.
Another murdering. They once again encounter thousands of hooks.
But yeah,
waiting for them.
Where's some locations where they've been going?
Joey, it's pretty, without being completely in the loop, it's pretty common for them to be sort of in the deep this time of year off Mount Martha, Mornington region. That would be my hot tip. You can nearly set your watch to that every autumn. And you will get them in Western Port too. Probably a more consistent fishery in Port Phillip, though, at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whiting. We love whiting. They've
do.
been fishing quite well in Western Port as well, Joey.
Yeah, I'm still one of these days. I do want to see a kilo whiting. It would be good, but yeah, is it kilo whiting season, Dave?
Oh, mate, why not? There's been some nice fish getting caught around Middle Spit and Tortoise Head Bank, I've been told. Also down towards the entrance, those bigger ones that you speak of, Cat Bay and also around Flinders. Generally, when the water's a little bit clearer, this tends to be where it fishes better, Joey. Less quantity, more quality down those entrances, let me tell you.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's whiting covered. We love whiting. Moving on, the other king that frequents our waters, the kingfish. We had a great little spurt of hot kingfish fishing in the Rip only a week or two ago. So no doubt there's still some fish through there. Our good mate Jason Taylor, as well as Pete Ryan and Calvin Betticini, Matt Zini, they're all out on real-time charters and they jigged up some beautiful fish. I think Pete actually got one that was about 109 centimeters or something like that on a jig. So really good fishing. And then, of course, every man and his dog was out there the next day. A few more caught, but a lot more boats. So kingfish still around, Joey.
Awesome.
I might catch one off the rocks, as I've said earlier. So,
you might.
Well, you never know, mate. They are there. It can happen.
Timing and location.
Tuna. We've talked about tuna quite a lot tonight. Mostly that Portland bite, which is epic. Look to see those fish, the bigger fish, starting to move through towards metropolitan Melbourne in the next few weeks. Possibly a few around already, but definitely still amazing fishing for the school fish out of Port Phillip and Western Port. People trolling and casting for them. Bloody love casting top water for those fish, and that is still happening at the moment.
You can't put a foot wrong. There's out of Port Phillip Heads, Barwon, or you want to go out the Eastern, or you want to go out the Western in Western Port. Dave was just saying before we went on air, go out there, look for the birds, look for the bait on the sounder, and troll or cast.
Literally, Joey, one rod, one lure reach. That's all you need. Go out there, drive around till you see them, cast, and hopefully, if everything's going well, hook up. It's quite easy fishing.
Yep.
So that will continue potentially for another. We've had them into June, to be honest, those smaller fish, but look to see some bigger bait come in, some bigger predators, dolphins, whales, gannets, and some bigger fish starting to turn up in our waters, Joey.
And we were talking about it this week, Dave. Like when was your first local barrel, if you cast your mind back to last year?
I think it was April last year, Joey. But to be honest, that was probably the first couple of times I'd gone out looking. There had been whispers before that. I really think that it's a matter of once that bigger bait, the pilchards and stuff, and the other predators arrive, they can really be there at any moment. I would be fairly certain that there'd be a few kicking around somewhere close to home at the moment. Obviously not in the numbers that are at Portland, but those fish, a lot of those fish are probably going to make their way through at some point. That's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, can't wait.
Look forward to that. Look forward to the giant
Get
gilbills.
ready to clip me into another one, Dave.
You can do the winding, Joey. Down there in Tassie, I spoke to Tasmanian correspondent Jonah Yick a bit earlier. He can't come on the show tonight. We are going to get him soon. He's a very busy man, but he gave me a quick wrap up from down there. Some of the boys along the east coast, up around St Helens area, have already caught some lovely swordfish. Mason Paul, I also spoke to earlier. He fishes that St Helens region. He got a lovely fish about a week ago. Looked about 150 kilo, potentially more. He said it took him 3 trips to get it, so it's not easy fishing. And he said the current was running south to north. He didn't really know what to make of that, but he said there was a fair bit of current. But the fish is still in it, Joe.
I'm really happy that you got the Tassie report in there, but I really was hoping you'd give us a report on one of those beautiful scallop seafood pies that Eagle Hawk Neck's so famous for.
Mate, there's a little general store on the way down there to on the way to Eagle Hawk Neck, and they do serve a nice scallop pie. And you know what, me and you need to go down there and sample that, and we'll give a report on a future podcast, Joey.
Yeah, I love that.
Tuna down there going really good as well. Jonah has got amongst the barrel bite the other day. He actually hooked up and lost a fish, but there was quite a few caught, and they continue to be caught by boats trolling around Hippolyte Rock. Tasman Island's seen quite a few fish, and everywhere in between. A lot of seals taking fish around Tasman Island, Jonah reports. The ones around Hippolyte have been less affected, which is quite unusual, actually, Joey.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, how good's and we say it all the time, how good's the tuna fishery? They're spread right through. A lot of them are quite big, and it'll be good fishing down there in Tassie. And I love getting a Tassie reporting because we have a few people from Tassie that watch the show, and they're much appreciated. And I hope that we can give back in some way with some reports.
Yeah, we just got Jason S on the live chat from Narooma, jumped on. Thanks for jumping on. And he said there's good kingies around the island this week. So I would be saying that would be Montague Island.
Montague Island, Joey, a good fishery there for sure. Thanks for coming on the live feed, Jason. Maybe we'll get some reports from you in the future to chuck in amongst these ones, get some more New South Wales content. It's always welcome.
Yes.
We've spoken about Gippsland Lakes a little bit. I nearly said her maiden name there. Mel Foulis went down there.
Foulis.
Sorry, Joey. That's very bad at
Greek
pronunciation. Went down there and she got those lovely flathead. Brendan Wing from New Fish TV, he's on his flathead journey. We've been talking to him a bit lately. He's always down there. You might see him down there a fair bit. Went back down there and got some more fish the other day. And just quietly, he's sort of saying, and I've heard this from a couple of people, that fishery in Gippsland Lakes for big flathead is shaping up to be an absolute beauty since they've removed a lot of the commercial fishing. They're in really good condition and they're in good numbers. So look to that for the future, Joey. That's going to be really good, world class. That's about all we've got for the hookup. I hope that was pretty comprehensive. I was just going to mention good mate Simon Webster had some good salmon fishing there in the lakes as well in Gippsland, and reports brim like you've never seen in your life down there, Joey, for your brim fishermen. The size of a small cat. I just made that measurement up. They're pretty big brim. That concludes the hookup for this week.
Well done, Davey. You've really punched that out.
Mate, I think we came back with a bit of fire
Yeah, we did.
for our first week back. And I am fired up, Joey. We're bringing back another segment tonight. You know that.
Yeah, what are we bringing back?
Mate, I just wanted to grind my gears a little bit because you said something that really triggered me earlier.
We now go to Peter Griffin for You Know What Really Grinds My Gears.
Thanks, Tom. You know what really grinds my gears?
Oh, he's angry.
Whoa.
He's angry. What?
I could be labelled a fishing wanker for saying this, Joey.
Uh-oh.
You mentioned earlier you're going trawling off the back of that cruise ship through Portland over the weekend. To which I say, no, you idiot. Trawling is when you commercially tow a freaking net behind the boat and catch fish.
Well, I was trawling. I'm going to be on a cruise ship. Maybe he's got a giant long net.
Mate, you were planning on trolling. Two completely different words.
Look,
you were going to troll some lures behind the ship.
Look, I don't think the captain's going to let me run a spread of 50 wides at the back of the cruise ship. So he might just have a big dragging net that I could just deploy from the back. So yeah,
you're claiming that, are you? That you were using correct terminology?
I'm just saying it could have gone either way on the type of vessel I was boarding.
Maybe I'm on my own there, but I hear it so frequently that it just tends to boil up inside me, Joey. Trolling, not trolling when we're talking about recreationally towing lures.
Yeah, no, I've heard that plenty of times too.
I don't think has anything ground your gears this week, Joe. You're just too much of a happy fella.
I'm pretty happy this week. Things are going.
The market's a bit slow. The real estate market's a bit slow.
The real estate market's been okay, but what's grinding my gears is not being able to get out in the big blue. But that's all going to change after this weekend.
It's been a very tough run for us, Joe, and typical the best fishing of all time does tend to happen when we're incapacitated and can't join in. But I'm just glad that everyone else has had a good time.
Yeah.
I'm just happy for everyone, you know what I mean?
It is. It's awesome to see to see everybody else doing so well at the moment. It's really just been great fishing on all fronts. Really good.
Now, Joey, we're going to bring this one home. It's been a ripper of a show, I think. People,
can I ask you one question though? Do we have a catch of the week?
Catch of the week? Oh no!
Have I put you on the spot?
I don't have a photo up, but I'm going to go with Lee and Aaron with their 7 barrels.
All right.
You're going to play the audio, are you?
Yeah, we're going to
give it a run.
King Kong, Donkey Kong, mate. Look.
We got Suraj there. He's just so happy for Lee and Aaron.
I so hope Reese and Suraj are still listening and heard that beautiful piece of audio. Get the curries ready, boys. After work tomorrow, I'll be down there and we're going to cast up a storm for those kingfish. Now we're going to run through a few questions before we finish up for the evening, Joey. It's been a bloody good night, I feel. We've had a blinder. Now, Pat O'Meara has asked what to run on barrel gear, straight mono, braid with top shot, etc. 24 versus 37. We had Lee Rayner's thoughts earlier. He's dropped down size in gear and he's running top shot. And I actually do the same, to be honest with you. I'm running a 50 wide still. I'm not on Anaconda type money where I can just go out and buy Telikas left, right and center, Lee. I've got the trusty 50 wide still. And they are full of 80-pound braid with a top shot of 80-pound mono, about 150 meters. So I find that an awesome piece of equipment. And the good thing is when I catch a fish or that mono gets worn, I can just cut off the top shot and re-spool and I'm fresh, ready to go. The braid generally doesn't see the light of day too often and it doesn't really get too worn. So you don't have to change that over nearly as often.
Expensive to keep changing that often if that was getting a lot of wear and tear, isn't it? No,
but it's also expensive to change a whole spool of mono, Joey. Apart from the fact you get a lot more capacity running the braid, it's if you're re-spooling a whole reel all the time, which you really should when you've had a fish on it for some time, because inevitably it's going to stretch the mono and make it weaker, then you end up using a lot of line.
Mm.
So, yeah, Lee, I do like Lee's idea though of scaling down, and I think that's probably the way of the future a little bit.
It's scaling down, but the gear he's using is quite powerful as well. That's the thing. This fishing tackle's getting newer. The newer fishing tackle's becoming lighter and way more powerful.
Absolutely correct. Now I've got another tackle-related question from the Roach Life. Thanks for sending in a question again, the Roach Life. We do appreciate you continually supporting and contributing to the podcast. You've asked straight butt or bent butt pros for game fishing, rod wise. We're talking here, Joey.
Yep.
Well, you've wound in a few big fish. What do you prefer?
I absolutely love on the bent butt, clipped into a harness is absolute delight to fish with, because the rod is you can get it sort of as low to the water as possible, and when you're pumping, it's levering the fish up. I really enjoy that. But talking to good mate Sean Hildyard, he's told me as well that if your rod holders are sort of not the right way, bent butt might not be the right rod for you. You got any thoughts on that, Dave?
I think he's referring to the fact that some of the mini bent butts you can get for stand-up tackle, they're a bit short and don't sit in a rod holder properly.
Yes, that's exactly
so
right.
You got to select the correct ones that are long enough to lock in, or you can actually get a rod butt riser. It's a stainless thing. You can get it from a lot of marine stainless providers, and it is like a little it lifts. It's like a false bottom to your rod holder, and it lifts the rod up probably about for 20 mil. And that way that you've got plenty of purchase in the rod holder.
Yeah, so thanks for jogging my memory. It was you basically, you don't want any of your game rods to be, the metal to be rubbing straight onto the graphite. You want it to be padded or an extension of the rod, as Dave mentioned. So that's really important.
Fighting fish on bent butts is so much better. Unfortunately, every time I seem to grab a rod, it's the straight butt rods, and every time Joey does, he gets to enjoy the glorious bent butt leverage.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy it. Those last 3 barrels last year was it. Oh, sorry, I wound one on a straight 24 kilo at Port Mac. It wasn't so good, but Dave's got his boat kitted like mwah.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think so. Sim Dantro wants to know any reports of local barrels out of Melbourne. A couple of whispers. Nothing confirmed. Any day now, I would say. Joey, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Top water gear. King Cass wants to know braid, rods, size reels. Well, another thing that Lee touched on, which I thought was actually pretty clever, and I had thought about that in the past, is the issue with top water is the pain that you receive when you use a spin reel on a long lever rod, casting rod, and with a long fight with a stubborn tuna equals pain. They are extremely good for long casts and working the lure, but once you hook up, could be quite painful. At the moment, I'm running more traditional setup. I've got a P8 Shimano Anthem with a 25,000 Saragossa. Chocker's full of 80-pound braid. Really nice setup, but does get heavy to cast for a long time. And it's not too bad when you hooked up. It's as far as rods go, it's quite good, but it's still not going to be great fun hanging off that for multiple hours.
Well, look, we watch on YouTube and abroad, some of these GT guys doing it when they've got somewhat of a harness. Like if you had to be sort of harnessed up to try to conserve the angler's energy to fight a barrel top water, how would you be kitted up in Victoria, Dave?
Well, the ideal setup to fight on would be the overhead bent butt with a harness. You can get spin rod harnesses now, which takes a little bit of the load off and makes it a bit easier. Here we go. We've got a live question. Thoughts on running a bent butt rod with a deep diver as a 6 rod off the back of the bait board under the prop wash? Yeah, why not, Simon? If you are happy to clear 5 other rods when you hook up, definitely fish will come up and check out that prop wash to some extent. And I know a lot of people do run a diver in that position. So why not? Just anything that works is good. But we're going to finish off with a couple from our main man, Lee. I never know how to say that. I think that's pretty right. He asked for a serenade from Joe last week, and the main man gave it to you. Beautiful bass playing. This week, first question is, said he wants to hear a bit more from Winger and Newfish. We're still working on that, mate. He's quite shy, Brendan. You wouldn't believe it, but he's quite shy. So we will get some updates from him in the next few months. But another question I thought was quite interesting, Joey. How did you and I meet? What's your recollection of our first meeting?
Gee, that's a great question. I'm gonna say it would have been it would have been through Brendan on, I'm going to say maybe 2010. And we went gummy shark fishing in the middle of the night. We went and grabbed a couple of large pizzas and we went out and sat gummy fishing with Brendan down the Western Channel. That's my recollection of us meeting.
Must have been a good night. I don't even remember that. You left a real indentation in my mind that evening, obviously.
Where was your recollection of where we met?
You kind of just slowly filtered your way into my life a little bit, I guess. But I think the first time I ever gazed upon the young Joseph Fernand was probably 2011, Apollo Bay, barrel bite. From a distance, I don't think we were introduced.
Oh, yeah.
You were
we passed each other on the water. Yep.
Potentially with Brendan Rockworster. Was he on that trip with you?
Yeah.
And a young Joseph fishing on the U-boat. And probably didn't even chat, but that is the moment he exploded into my life. So there's an origin story for the ages.
Yeah.
And thick as thieves, ever since, he's a bloody legend, this guy next to me, and can't thank him enough for always being the ultimate friend. Joey. Is that a beautiful
Thanks,
way to end the show?
Yeah. Oh,
he's a good man, Joey, and I can't wait to do a bit more fishing with him.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time. I've got to say, probably at the well, we fished, over the years, but no, I've probably got the best work-life balance at the minute. There are still some duties that I'm drawn to, but I'm really enjoying what we're doing here at the moment with Wind Against Tide, and the videos and the content that we're bringing to you guys.
Simon reckons your fish are travelling quite nicely, and their bowels look to be working quite well. There's a bit of sediment running through the water there behind us in the podcast fish tank, Joey.
Well, it's actually pretty clean today. I did a water change last week, so yeah, we pumped out about 600 litres of water because this is a 6-foot aquarium behind us. So yeah, pumped out 600 litres of water, and I've got an attachment where it clips onto my kitchen tap, and yeah, the garden hose just goes into there, and we fill it back up. So she's clean, but yeah, they love to eat. They're like pigs swimming in water, these fish.
I'll tell you what, 1,000 views on this live feed, and we will throw a hookless plastic in there next episode.
Yes, I'll do it for 1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that could be interesting viewing. All right, Joe, I thought that was a cracking podcast. Thanks everyone who's been on the live feed communicating with us, and we appreciate it as always. And we can't wait to see you next week. Well, hopefully next week we'll be back. I think we will. Can't see a reason not to. So thanks for your patience, and we will see you next time.
We'll see you next time, fishing friends.